Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. My goodness. It's a good weekend for Path of Exile fans. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I, personally, am doing fantastic. Guess what? I was on call yesterday. I didn't do shit. Actually, that's not true. We were pretty busy. We were busy like all day, but I personally didn't do a lot. Good gosh darn. What's up, man? Thank you once again for joining me. I'm trying to figure out why my activity feed isn't working. I think my Windows might have updated or something funky. Oh, also, there's apparently a huge storm outside, even though it was, like, super nice and, like, clear all day. So if I just, like, convulse violently all of a sudden and, you know, die, that's why. I got electrocuted. Because this is, like, the only power draw in our house other than our AC right at the moment. Oh, activity feed. Why do you trouble me so? Not really even a huge problem, I just want it there. I can't see it otherwise. When people follow or subscribe, which happens very rarely. But that's okay. Let's see. Oh well, whatever. Here we go. So yeah, Exilecon. That was pretty awesome. I know there's not a whole lot of people here who are Path of Exile fans, but man, if you are, that was pretty sweet. Lots of cool stuff. I feel like they hardcore nerded out. That was great. They've like really tapped into the community and been awesome about it. Actually, this is a good idea. Here. I'll put that over here. Or not. Man, I'm just like really bad at this. Oh well, fuck it. There we go. Anyway, Path of Exile. Yeah, so on call yesterday, we worked like all day, which is unfortunately becoming more typical. But I had plenty of time to watch most of the live stream from Friday, which I feel like was kind of the meat and potatoes of everything. And then I'm in the middle of watching the race. I know what happens, but yeah, I saw the like big reveals and everything that happened Friday. It's like a 9-hour stream or something, and I probably watched all but maybe an hour of it yesterday. 18 days, 18 hours, alright. But yeah, I wanted to definitely go through some of this stuff. Like, so they announced that Path of Exile 2 is going to be a separate game. Yeah, in case you missed all of this. So Path of Exile 2 is originally going to essentially be like an expansion to Path of Exile 1, and like everything was, you know, linked, and it was just a different game that you needed different characters to play through, but they had the same end game, like the same in-game system. And I don't know, I was never really sure how they were going to make that work, but apparently they agreed and decided that they were not going to make that work, so, which I think is a good call. Because it became pretty clear that, like, the goal of Path of Exile 2 is to dramatically slow the pace of gameplay and kind of honestly be a little bit more like Diablo 4, which it's like, you know, slow, methodical, dodge, dodge, dodge. Every monster pack takes a little bit of thought kind of thing. And we definitely saw that in the streamer previews, like where Zizaran and Mathel and, you know, some of the bigger names in the Path of Exile community got to try the game out for a while. The league staggering of PoE 1 and 2 is nice. Yeah, that's a great idea. Unfortunately, that's going to conflict with other games, most notably Last Epoch, who had that strategy. Because they were like, well, everybody quits the Path of Exile League, like, a month or two at most into it. So that's when we'll release our patches, and then we won't have to compete with that, and we'll draw all these people off. So that just, like, totally just crushes their strategy for the most part. So I'm not sure what they're gonna do. It's a brilliant move by Path of Exile, because they're, Last Epoch is actually kind of like a legitimate competitor, in my opinion, in the ARPG space. So that was a super smart thing for them to do. And it, obviously just, even like in a, like on an island, in isolation, it makes perfect sense, because they don't want to, like, cannibalize their own game. But, yeah. That will be good, assuming that you want to play both games. I think there was did I see them talk about how many devs they've had working on PoE 1? Yeah, it's like 20, right? 8 developers. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's like 20 people, but 8 devs for Path of Exile 1. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And they're still putting out, like, massive content. Life, I historically, at least, Grinding Gear Games has been kind of like, at least their public face is that they try to minimize, like, overwork and crunch time for their developers, but that really makes it sound like that's not the case. It's like you've got 8 people putting out essentially like a more or less new game every 3 to 4 months. Like, that sounds freaking awful. Makes sense to separate it, but PoE 2 will no longer fix. Yeah, that is kind of an interesting consequence of this strategy, right? Like, everybody kind of thought that we were just sort of, there were lots of these problems, like, the trade API and all of these things that are kind of like long-standing issues that everybody complains about, that we're just gonna be sort of like washed away with this giant expansion patch, basically, and now we know that that's absolutely not the case. And so, like, in fact, things will probably get worse before they get better, just because there are fewer people working on it. And yes, by comparison, it definitely makes D4 look very silly, because, yeah, Blizzard, or Activision, and I guess their, facade of Blizzard, has basically all the resources they could possibly want, and they're still making these, like, kind of fundamental errors that just don't make any sense, both from, like, a, community response to community feedback standpoint, and just some, basic blunders. Like, they're just, Diablo 4 is not really a complete game. Like, it's a complete campaign, but the end game is trash. It's not strong. PoE 1 was going to get the new gym system, quality of life, graphics, and that won't happen, right? I mean, I think they will continue to do that. Like, they'll continue to sort of upgrade Path of Exile like they have been. But it seems to me like every major, like, graphics compatibility update they've done has been a disaster. Like, it's been really, really badly done. I think they're trying to do those things towards the end of leagues now, so they sort of disrupt the fewest people possible. They used to do them with league releases, which was catastrophic, and so they figured out that was a bad idea pretty quickly. Yeah, exactly. The Diablo 4 stuff is like, so I know nothing about programming, but so the explanation that I have heard, and my interpretation as a very much lay person in that regard, is like, you basically load every single item that every other person in your world has whenever you encounter them. Like, in their inventory, in their stash, whatever it is, like, all of them have to load, all the images and everything. And so it's, like, massively just crushing performance and making everybody, like, drain their RAM like crazy. And that seems like a problem that no other game has. So, like, clearly somebody somewhere cut a very easy corner to fix. Because, Even then, there's only 20 people per game shred, so that is not that many items. I thought it was gonna be a bigger world than that. So basically, it's just like massively inefficiently coded then, huh? In addition to, being sloppily coded, it's very inefficient. You would obviously know way more about this than I would. I have zero programming experience. Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like what they've done does not execute well. Like, it doesn't do its job efficiently at all. Because, you have Path of Exile, where you can directly interact with other players who have much more stash room than Diablo 4 allows. And that's never an issue. Like, performance in Path of Exile, I've never had problems. I know lots of other people have, but, long term, I've never had issues. There've been, things associated with patches that they were like, fuck, we have to fix this, but, in terms of, playability over a week plus, nah, never any problems. But yeah, it is disconcerting that we will no longer have big sweeping fixes, at a set point in the future for Path of Exile 1. That was the first thing that I thought of when they were like, PoE 2 is going to be a separate game. I was like, wait a second. That's probably not good. I mean, it's kind of the obvious solution, I feel like, but yeah. There's that leaves a lot to be desired on the quality of life issues in Path of Exile 1, which granted, quality of life there's pretty good. It's better in Last Epoch. There are lots of things in Last Epoch that are just kind of obvious, automatically identifying items, free stash tabs. What else? Auto pickup. Those are probably the biggest three. It's Path of Exile's biggest sin is click count, basically. If you're susceptible to repetitive stress and injury, then this is not a good game for you. But I was enthused by let's see. We'll actually have one of these playing.
Welcome to Path of Exile 2.
Oh my God, that's so loud.
We'd like to start off by showing some of the gameplay of Act 3.
Here, we're just gonna mute this. And go through to where they're playing. So, to me, the gameplay in this is so slow. I kind of enjoyed the change of pace to Diablo 4, where you kind of have to dodge around a little bit and, choose your skills, and monsters' abilities kind of mean something, and you've got to dodge those and pay attention. But the fact that running into a pack takes you 15 seconds of combat, I mean, look, that pack's still alive. That's not so good. That's gonna make for a really, really long game. I know that in the in these demos, all of the characters were sort of undergeared. If you watch this live, he actually had a whole bunch of skill points that were unspent, and their gear is clearly just random magic crap that they picked up. It's just some default set of items that sucks. That clearly hasn't been crafted very aggressively or taken care of. So these are very unoptimized characters. Did I watch Crypt play the spear character? Yeah, I did actually. His was better, but yeah, he crafted his own spear, right? And kind of got a decent roll on it. I mean, it was still just a normal magic item, but I think he got some huge bonus to physical damage or something. So caught a little RNG, but these things are deadly, man. He's just getting kind of chunked by white mobs. And then, watching Zizaran, so Mathil died to the first mob he encountered. If you haven't watched the playthroughs, and Zizaran got killed, fucking 5 times or something? And just the wind-up time for skills is really, really troubling to me. because you just saw these streamers get stun locked over and over and over, and they were just paralyzed. They couldn't do anything. So you definitely can't pull monsters into packs anymore because they'll just mob you down. And also, you are susceptible. So there's a new mechanic where basically you can, against tough monsters, hit them enough times and sort of like fill this meter, after which they'll get stunned or frozen or, you know, exhibit whatever crowd control effect that you're trying to put on them. Which in Path of Exile 1 is not necessarily the case. There's like a threshold you have to meet for, say, freeze. So if you meet whatever monster's freeze threshold, then you freeze them. But if you don't, then you don't. Like, nothing happens. But in Path of Exile 2, and like, if you just barely meet that freeze threshold, you're gonna freeze them for like a fraction of a second. So that it's not very useful. You know, basically you can't really do anything else in that time that they're frozen. But in Path of Exile 2, they actually get frozen for a pretty substantial amount of time. Like, later in this particular playthrough, you can see them... I know I'm spoiling this, but, you know, whatever. Sorry. You can see them fighting this boss, and they actually kind of, like, get through it by coordinating those freezes. And then he, Octavian is the streamer who's playing here. And then who is it? One of the developers is playing the monk, and Octavian is playing the sorceress. And so they just coordinate the monk freezing and Octavian doing that, like, multi-comet thing. PoE wasn't hard enough? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I find Path of Exile to be a really, really challenging game, personally, at the upper levels. I think they've done a good job with scaling difficulty. I mean, I'm a pretty casual player. I don't put a ton of playtime into it, compared to, you know, some of these people. God. But, you know, I'm still able to kind of access some of the, like, mid-late game sort of stuff. Or mid-end game, I should say. Mid-end game kind of stuff. Like, some of the bosses and all that is, like, reasonably accessible for me to, you know, engage with. But the point is, you are also susceptible to those build-ups. So, like, if there's, you know, a swarm of little shit enemies running around you who can't really damage you, they're still building up to stun locking you or freezing you or whatever. That sort of sucks. And you saw Zizarin get killed by that a couple times. He had a rough go of it, man. His playthrough was painful to watch. Like, so many of the skills have like I mean, I don't even know what the time would be, but like a second plus. Like, especially with Mathil, what did he play, the warrior? I can't remember if it was a warrior or marauder or what it was, but like, some of the skills that he used took like over like a second and a half to use. That's like, I mean, to think that you're not gonna get stunned out of that is like unfathomable. Wonder if they have resist to stun and cold? Probably. I mean, obviously to cold, but yeah, probably. It'll probably be a lot like Path of Exile 1, where they have, you know, ability to ignore those things. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think they might be in for a world of hurt. Like, so one thing I actually wanted to talk about was the very curious decision that Games Workshop. I'm deep in the Warhammer hole. Grinding Gear Games made to getting through the acts in a new PoE 2 is going to be an ordeal. Yes, it is. It sounds like it's going to be very involved. I mean, hopefully they'll, like, you know, speaking of quality of life, hopefully they'll do something along the lines of what Diablo did and let you just, like, skip that shit after you've been through it. But still, you'll have to do it at least once a season. That's a big barrier to me making new characters in Path of Exile 1, actually. Because it takes me like 6 to 7 hours, well, probably more like 7 or 8 hours of gameplay to get through the campaign. And that's like 3 to 4 days of playtime for me, so, you know, like, at least. And that's, you know, I don't get a day of playtime every day. Most days, but not every day. So that's a pretty big investment. You know, it sort of sucks to have to just slog through the campaign over and over. Yeah. And then you still have to level once you get past that. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, anyway, I thought it was very strange at first when I feel like Grinding Gear Games sort of went out of their way when they created the Ruthless League to be like, oh, well, this isn't going to take any developer time. We're not taking any time away from developers, which, like, is like clearly bullshit, right? Like, that's obviously false, because time is a finite resource. So somebody is, you know, it's not like money where you can just like pay more money to do X, right? Like, people have a finite amount of time, and so if somebody is spending time on Ruthless, on developing that, clearly that time is not spent doing something else. You know, maybe they're fulfilling their duties in, you know, developing Path of Exile 2 or Path of Exile 1 or whatever the hell they're doing, right? They're doing all of the things required of them at work, but they're also not spending that time on, you know, something else in those games. They're spending their time on Ruthless. And so they just, like, unceremoniously, you know, that's clearly bullshit. Some people believe the cover story, but you know, it's kind of obviously crap. And then in that walkthrough that we just watched, they were dropping gold, and everybody in the Twitch chat was just like losing their minds. They're like, gold, as Chris Wilson had always historically been against having gold because it's just sort of like a useless resource after a point. And that's why, you know, Path of Exile only has currency. It only has the, you know, orbs and stuff. But they were like, oh, yeah, well, we tested this out in Ruthless, and it worked really well. It's like, oh, okay, so Ruthless really, it's just a testing ground for Path of Exile 2. Okay. Like, we all kind of knew this. That's the worst kept secret in the Path of Exile community, but it... Like, come on, guys. Like, you just straight up gaslighting everybody for no reason. Like, I don't understand it. But, whatever. But the troubling thing about that is that, it sounds like they want Path of Exile 2 to be much like Ruthless. And that is, not so appealing to me. I hope they sort of reverse that course. And, let's see if we can find Scissorin's playthrough here. Unlimited power from lightning tendrils. I have no idea what that is. Playthrough. Here it is. Here we go. Perfect. Yeah, so I personally don't know how, like, I guess it's actually the more popular thing to do, but I don't see how people play with this minimap up all the time. Like, I can barely see through it. It's so thick. It totally obscures gameplay. But, like, look at the pace of this. Like, at least the monster density is better. That's one thing that Diablo 4 really messes up is monster density, man. There's so many times where you're just walking and walking and walking, you know, for multiple screens, and there's not even a single enemy. That is extremely dissatisfying. Not to mention all the backtracking and stuff, like, the game design is very flawed. Imagine how long it'll take to get through the campaign. I know, right? And this map, like, when he dies, he, like, looks at this map, and it's just huge. It's gigantic. Each one of these areas is very large. Yeah, and you have to kill all the bosses for, like, bonus stats, too. Which I think is kind of cool. That's a double-edged sword. Right, so if you missed it, the announcement is that there's basically a boss in every area. And each one can give you some sort of bonus, and many of them give you permanent stat bonuses, which is cool, right? It means that there's like a reason to actually not just burn through these areas when you're going through the campaign, but at the same time, it also means you are sort of obligated to not burn through those areas, which, I don't know. I don't really care for that so much. Hope you don't have to kill every boss. Yeah, like, every boss every time for every character. Yeah, that would sort of suck. That would make things pretty painful. Yeah, I hope that as well. Not super interested in having to, like, literally full clear the campaign every time you want to, like, make a new character. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's, like, something akin to the, like, Lilith Shrines in D4, where, like, all of your characters just, like, get this. But, now that I'm thinking about it, at the same time, that would probably make, like, starting characters just, like, crazy powerful, right? Because you'd have, like, an entire game full of bonuses when you just start out. So I bet you, knowing how Path of Exile has worked in the past and works now, I bet you do have to kill all the bosses every time. So one thing I do really like about Path of Exile 2 is the gym system. I think it's pretty neat. And they were talking about how they're getting away from support gyms being like damage supports, with the rationale that having damage supports sort of locks you into doing that. Basically, there's no room for changing how the skill works through support gyms, which, you know, we see borne out in Path of Exile, right? Really, the only support gyms that we ever even see used are like greater multiple projectiles, chain sometimes, but less, you know, much less often. That's pretty much it. Right? Like, there's not a whole lot of stuff that like blind, added block chance, you know, god, I don't even know, knockback, all of things like that are just totally unused because you're losing out on 40% of your damage if you do that. Similarly, they talked about how they want to get away from the, like, 6-socket thing because you're basically obligated to only have one skill, one or two at most, and because the other ones won't be as powerful, right? So they're getting away from that and trying to, like, encourage you to use more skills, which is great. And in doing so, they've made the weapon swap very, very nice. So long story short, you should watch the first, like, if you have any interest in this at all, I would 100% watch the first day's live stream, because it's packed with cool reveals, especially the beginning. I think the first, like, what, 2 hours or so is where they reveal Path of Exile 2 and the next Path of Exile League, which we'll kind of go through in just a minute. But yeah, those are pretty high impact things to watch. All of the playthroughs and whatever are just kind of gravy, but yeah, I think that's a good idea to allow for skill variability and variety. And the way that they've done the weapon swaps now is you can have different, like, if you have a skill in your weapon swap and you use it, you hot swap your weapon automatically. So you aren't just, it's not like just disabled like it is currently in Path of Exile, where really your weapon swap is basically just to level gems, pretty much, or hold stuff. You know, now it's actually useful. So you can have a weapon that's dedicated to buffing fire skills or whatever, and then in your main hand, or your other hand, you have something that buffs your cold skills. And so if you use a fire skill, you just bind it to the other weapon, and it automatically swaps to it. And it's pretty quick. Like, you know, there's an animation to it, and it does delay you a little, so you can't just, like, spam, you know, skills on both of your alternates. alternate weapons without taking a huge, like, functionality hit. But say you have, like, a huge heavy hitter skill on one side, then that'll work. That'll work out. So I think that's a really good idea. There's a lot of cool stuff to come with this, but yeah, I hope you're watching this, if you haven't seen this already, and seeing how excruciatingly slow the gameplay is. And keep in mind, those were all just like normal mobs. Just normal monsters. Yeah, so he discovered that Unleash and Spell Echo have a really cool interaction in this. So basically, Spell Echo echoes the Unleash, which is awesome. It's pretty cool. So it makes your skill cast 6 times. Watching the XP bar when he kills. Oh, I didn't really even pay any attention to that. Is it disheartening? I think a couple people leveled, right? I think he and Mathel leveled, obviously Crip leveled. I don't think I got to Nugian's playthrough. Okay with slower combat if more XP per kill. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, so it's really about game progression, right? Not necessarily like the speed of combat. But if it's like slow experience and slow killing, then that's sort of painful. Yeah, so this is where it really starts to like... I feel like you can get in a bad spot where you're just totally shit out of luck very easily. Like you've chugged your potions because you get stun locked, but you need to kill stuff because you have no potions. And then you keep getting stun locked. Like, yeah, so I mean, he's just like, I mean, I guess that's a rare, but just like kiting mobs everywhere. So that said, the crowd control effects in this game do look very impressive and basically appear to be mandatory. I mean, you're not really going to kill anything at all if you don't have some way to, like, knock it back or stop it. You know, it's just going to chase you down and, you know, make you kite for 10 years, like what he's doing here. That just doesn't sound fun, you know? Just doesn't sound fun. Like, keep in mind, he's only done 2 areas so far. Or 1.5, even. And I think he and Mathel had half an hour to play, maybe? Can't remember. And Ziz also straight up stated that his goal was to, like, zoom through this as fast as possible and see as much as he could. And I think he made it through 2 zones in half an hour. Yeah, so I know they've got a lot of time left. So if you missed the announcement, the closed beta for Path of Exile, yeah, so that sucks. It's just like normal mobs just stun the shit out of him. The normal closed beta for Path of Exile 2 starts June 7th of next year. So like there's a lot of time for them to adjust stuff and get feedback, which they will get a unbelievable amount of you know, during the next week or 2. I know they say they don't look at Reddit or, you know, don't really pay attention to like social media, but that's obviously bullshit, right? Because, you know, even though that's like a small probably the whiniest subsector of the people who play their game, there's still people who play their game. And those are viewpoints that they have to consider. So, yeah, I mean, like, obviously they're, you know, probably not taking those things to heart. But if you've got an overwhelming, you know, outcry about, hey, this in your game is not something we want, then, you know, maybe you gotta pay attention to that. And right now, people are basically echoing what I'm saying, as far as I can tell. Though, honestly, I feel like I'm probably a little more optimistic than most are. Like, I think the visuals in this game are awesome. I think they're super cool, and I think that people at Path of Exile have, like, they have the knowledge and the understanding and the ability to make a good action RPG. I am not confident that the people at Blizzard currently have any of those things. I think they stamped Diablo on a more or less MMO game with an amazing campaign, to be fair. I think Diablo 4's campaign is fucking awesome. I am definitely glad that I bought it. I had a ton of fun with it. I played it for, I don't know, probably 100-ish hours. I consider that time and money well spent. But as for the future of it, I am hopeful that they will fix the things that need fixing and make it the awesome game that it has the potential to be, but I don't think that'll happen. D4 art and sound is great, gameplay is busted, yeah, pretty much. I feel like gameplay was fine through the campaign, because you know, actually have stuff to accomplish. Yeah, see, this is Scissorin just dying over and over. But yeah, through the campaign it's fine, but there's just no end game. Like, once you've kind of reached, you know, the highest tier, like tier 4, and can sort of cruise through all that stuff, you know, so like level 70, you're just done. Like, there's really not much else for you. See, look how huge this zone is. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, that's the pan I was thinking of. Yeah, D4 has potential to be amazing. It's like a really good frame for a game. The campaign is awesome. No complaints at all with the campaign, personally. Totally enjoyed it. Like, the last couple acts especially were just like, ah. But yeah, the end game definitely leaves a lot to be desired. And I think replayability is probably very limited as well. Mostly because, like, the skill tree itself is so uninteresting. You know, it's very, it's very blah. You know, there's 4 choices per level, and you kind of choose what you want to do before you even do it, and then, even then, there's, like, not really much penalty for, respecking. So, like, you can totally change what you're doing with, like, essentially 0 consequence. Which might be a good thing for some people, I don't know. But to me, I want there to be kind of some, like, weight to the decisions that you make. Like, I think that's one of many things that Path of Exile got right. Is that, like, a regret orb is not expensive, but it does cost you something. You know, so if you want to respec all of your stuff, you're going to have to pay a fairly substantial amount to make that happen, but you can do it. God, man. Drinking water is very difficult for me these days, apparently. But yeah, everything is kind of decided for you, yeah. Yeah, and it's very dependent on, like, what you find. So, like, in a sense, it's kind of good that you can respec, because if you find, like, a super good legendary, like, I found the, like, those unique gloves that make, corpse explosion corpses, like, run after people, so it's, like, makes corpse explosion homing. Dude, if I hadn't had corpse explosion, I would have felt really bad about that. But, I mean, fortunately, I was, like, an integral part of my build to begin with, but if that wasn't, I'd been like, wow, this is like a beastly ass item, like borderline broken, like build enabling kind of thing, and I'm just like choosing not to use this. That sort of sucks. But yeah, the aspects are definitely a huge part of it. Or, alternatively, if you are set on what you want to do, and you know of, like, what aspects you need, you're kind of, like, bound to just grinding for those. You just kill a bunch of shit until you find what you need. It's sort of like weird, solo self-found Path of Exile, kind of. Which, I don't know, maybe some people are okay with that, but I'm not. I don't have that kind of time, dude. I can't be like, I need this kind of item, so I'm just gonna play this game for hours until it drops. Nah. And that's really all the end game of Diablo 4 is. It's just a straight up grind. But yeah, I worry that they've sacrificed a lot of, you know, the feels good gameplay for this, just for the sake of it being harder. Like, I don't know that it's necessarily, like, more impactful, it's just harder. Yeah, so I mean, look how easily he gets mobbed. I mean, this is Zizarin here. Like, I know that they've kind of deliberately, you know, overtuned the situation so you have the opportunity to use a whole bunch of skills and sort of showcase all the stuff that you have. And also given you, you know, ample opportunity to kind of figure out where you're going and explore the game and all that sort of stuff. But, man, like, he's an extremely good video game player, and this guy's getting chunked, like, 4 and 5 times just going through 2 zones. That bodes very badly for guys like me who don't play this game worth a shit. Like, I've got to build my character like a hardcore character just so I don't die all the time in Path of Exile. Like, let alone if you ramp up the difficulty. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm pretty wary. But again, they've got plenty of time to, you know, kind of clean this up and make it not such the ball-breaking experience that it seems like it is right now. I mean, like, why do you have to go through and zap a normal mob 4 times with Arc before it dies? That just doesn't, like, that doesn't sound fun. Yeah. Zizarin gets crushed in first look Path of Exile. That's hilarious. I didn't even notice the title. Should have shown what the game's like and with decent gear. Yeah, I think they should have, actually. Like, I think a good idea would have been to maybe let all of these people play through, and then, like, shown kind of what an in-game setup, or a okay setup was, you know? Yeah, exactly. I think they did enable struggle bus mode for sure. Like, I guess like I said, I think the idea is, you know, kind of forcing you to explore and take it slow and look at all the stuff, play with all the skills and see what's going on. But, like, you know, I feel like they would have done that anyway, right? That's the whole point. Like, Zizarin's obviously, like, pretty fucking frustrated with that experience. You know? Like, just look at the body language. He's just like, okay. Fuck that. Yeah, like, when he hit that last death, he kind of, like, hit the desk and, like, gained control, you know? Love getting my shit pushed in on white mobs, exactly. Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't? So this I thought was really cool. I am very excited for the like regular Path of Exile League. I think this is going to be super cool. It's basically like Team Fortress, right? And you get to play with all the, like, old barbarian legends and gods and stuff. Super cool. Yeah, I feel like this is... my first thought when I was watching this is, like, some of these dudes are going to be so overtuned when they first start this, and they're just going to absolutely buttfuck you when you go in there. Like, some of the named characters, they're just going to freaking crush you when you go in. And it'll take them, you know, a week or so to hear the backlash and fix it. But there's gonna be, you know, maybe the whirlwind guy comes in and just like mows through your team, no questions asked. That's probably what's gonna happen. But yeah, they have those, and I don't know if you saw the tattoos, but basically you can like get items that let you change what your passive skills do. Most notably the small passives, which are really cool. Like, one of them was mana reservation. It was like 2% improved mana reservation for just like a normal small node. That's pretty sweet. And you get some pretty beastly stuff for the notables too. Like, if you want to replace your notable, there was one that was like +1 to int gems is something that they showcased. Like, that's freaking awesome as a notable. Like, Christ. And those tattoos are tradable, I believe, so those are going to be really expensive. Unless they're super common, which they might be, but... Yeah, so let's see. What did we just watch? The trailer? Or the announcement? Ah. No, no, no. That's not what we want. Wait, are these the same thing? Yeah, those are the same link. What are you doing to me? Yeah, they're the exact same thing. Whoops. Whoopsies. Well, in any event, let's look at... announcement? There we go. Let's scroll through this. Do I buy an MTX? No, I do not. Never ever have I done that. I'm not, like, against it, I just never think of it. And I'm like, yeah. Do I like any of the Ancestors MTX? I don't know, I haven't looked at it. Let's look, shall we? Adorn your soul. This is the tattoos thing. On death, this omen is consumed and a portal to town is created. Hilarious. Wasn't there one that... Yeah, this one. Hinakora's hair. This is gonna be, really expensive. Allows an item to foresee the result of the next currency item used on it. Yikes. That will be very, very desirable by high-level crafters, for sure. Like, basically everyone will... Like, if you're smart, you will just buy these. Just hoard that shit and wait for the price to go up and then resell it. One that permanently shows off your mirror. Oh, yeah, that's the one that, like, you have, like, your highest level of currency that you've used orbiting you. That's actually pretty cool. That's a big dick MTX for sure. I wonder how often you'll see a mirror. I always kind of wonder that. Like, I wonder how many people in a league actually use mirrors. I mean, it can't be that many, right? Not too many people even find one. Let's see, exclusive unique item. This is probably trash. This is also probably trash. This is pretty freaking good. Do we know how many mirrors drop per league? I have no idea, actually. Let's see, let's look. Let's see if we can get an idea. Bulk item exchange. Items I want. Where's the mirror? Mirror of Calandra. 132. So there are at least 132 mirrors in people's stash tabs. Pretty much all of these people have 1, 6. Yikes. Here, let's filter out how many have more than 1. Minimum stock 2. So 30 people have more than 2 mirrors. That is not many. In a stash tab that's tradable, to be fair. 70. Nice. 70 mirrors. So yeah, what? Probably, I don't know, extrapolating from this, maybe 1,000 mirrors? Something like that per league? Maybe more? I don't know. So not a whole lot. Certainly not a lot. But yeah, that'll definitely be really cool to see people with those running around. It's actually kind of a cool looking MTX too. I don't know where those are. Was that up top? Journey to the Karui Afterlife. But yeah, I'm unimpressed by the uniques that they teased. If you play around 4 hours today, you'll get 1 mirror every 10 years on average. Holy shit. What? So, what is, what does that mean? So, that's what, 1460 per year? So, like, you need to play, like, 15,000 hours to get a mirror on average? Oh, God. That's so ridiculous. One of the most painful things that I've ever seen was watching Ziggy D. He found a mirror on a hardcore character and then died within, like, 15 minutes. So bad. Then famously used it to mirror a chromatic orb wand and sell it. Like a wand that sold from a chromatic orb. Hilarious. Yeah, this is really good. This armor is awesome. In my estimation. But both of these... I mean, rotating buffs in general are kind of trash. But then when the buff has some pretty substantial downsides, I don't know how you would mitigate any of those things, honestly. Like, attacks against you always hit. I guess you could have, what is it? Resolute stance? No, that's not the one. Unwavering stance. The fuck? Where is it? That's what that does, right? Yeah, you can't evade, so you can't be stunned. So that's one. So you can just make it so you always get hit anyway. So that's not a downside. But that's kind of a shitty upside for such a huge downside. I don't know. I don't know that I would do that. So damage of hits against you is lucky. I guess you could be so I don't know how making something lucky that's unlucky, or vice versa, making something unlucky that's lucky works. Like if that just cancels, they just like cancel out. Because there's Lori's Lantern. That's like a ring that makes, if you're at low life, damage against you is unlucky. And for anybody who doesn't know, lucky and unlucky means you roll something, like whether it's a hit or damage, in this case, twice, and you pick the highest result for lucky and lowest result for unlucky. So if damage hits against you is unlucky, you can counteract that, I guess, by making it unlucky? I don't know. So if you had a low life, unwavering stance character that was immune to critical strikes, or no, didn't take extra damage from critical strikes, I guess this would be okay. So the attacks cannot hit you is pretty cool. So you could make one of the, basically, like, the 3 bad things be blanks. Get always critical strikes. You're probably pretty close to 100% crit if you're a crit character anyway. Damage with hits is lucky is a good deal. Yeah, I don't know, maybe you can make this work. Maybe you can make this a useful thing to have. But again, like, rotating buffs are kind of difficult to deal with. I don't know, I don't really see how this is that good, frankly. I guess kind of nice for a panic button, but, like, just have an instant flask. And also, you don't, like, most people who use mana flasks use eternal mana flasks. I mean, not eternal, God. Whatever the one is that, like, makes it not go away when you cap out your mana. Like, because most potions stop when your stat, whether it's life or mana, get filled up. Yeah, so that would actually be sort of, like, counterproductive. And yeah, Kitava's Hunger. How much life would you normally get on all of your gear? So say like 70 from each piece, basically. So you got gloves, ring. Belt is probably 100, so that's... Yeah, we'll just stick with 70. So, what did I say? Gloves, ring, belt, ring, boots, shield, helmet, amulet. So that's like, probably 600-ish life, right? Assuming you have life on all of those things. The trick is you can't have any, like, life regen or life replenish or, recoup or anything like that, which kind of sucks. But we know that this at least goes to 900 and something. I think they had a 910 one in the actual reveal. So it probably goes to 1,000. So if you get 1,000 life on this, I feel like you can probably clean up, right? What are other things that are life modifiers that would make suck? Any builds in mind for the new league? I do, actually. So oddly enough, I was looking at PoE Dan's character list because he's like a freaking genius. This is one of the things that I was thinking of doing. Is a Forbidden Right Pathfinder. Because it's awesome. It's a really, really good character. But he's doing it a little different than I had planned on, which is, not surprising, because I'm doing it at a massive budget, very low mental input way. So he's doing it with Mahuzadal's Machination, which is a really complex shield, but basically combined with the Fourth Vow and converting a bunch of your elemental damage taken to fire with this, Tempered by War, you gain a freaking ridiculous amount of durability. So you can see his effective hit pool is like nearing 200,000, which is nuts. But the way that I wanted to do it was not using Replica Sorrow of the Divine, which gives you Eldritch Battery, but actually just using regular Sorrow of the Divine, so that basically life flasks apply to your energy shield as well, and then using Corrupted Soul to split the damage that you take between energy shield and life. And so that basically doubles your regeneration. So while your single target might not be, like your single target hit might not be so good, and mine's not because I don't have my resistances maxed and, you know, lots of stuff. So you'll see that this still does a shitload of damage, and I need to, you know, fix that, obviously. Sort of fine-tune it. But yeah, basically you're recovering 2,700 energy shield per second. That's kind of nuts. Kind of nuts. So yeah, this would just be a self-cast Forbidden Rite. Pathfinder. Nothing real fancy. And I would probably stick with this, the life recoup. But if you could get it for, you know, easily on your gear, then why not? And somewhere in here I need to throw in Corrupted Soul. I'm not sure where I would do that. Oh, you know what? I chose not to do that because I have this. I forgot about that. Because the vast majority of damage that you're taking in this build is from yourself, from Forbidden Rite. So if your chaos damage isn't bypassing energy shield, that's good enough. And that pretty much allows you to just like ignore bonuses to energy shield because you're gonna have enough. It's just like constantly regenerating anyway. So this is one. The other one is kind of an oddball, and I'm trying to think of how to get it. So I have sort of like the opposite problem here. I'm trying to figure out a way. This is not the version that I wanted. This is the one that I wanted. So this is a Decay Occultist. Not optimized again. These are builds I'm still like sort of tinkering with. But if you did not know, Decay is a really complicated support gem. And in fact what it does is it picks up sort of the traits of the skill that you're supporting. So like for instance, you'll see that I have Arc here. So Decay will do 15% more damage for each remaining chain. Oh, I need to switch my view here so you can see what the hell I'm doing. There we go. Sorry. Totally forgot about that. Anyway, yeah, so Decay will do, like, if you're doing single target stuff, it'll do 15% more damage for each remaining chain as well. So that's a lot. That's a whole lot. But even better, if you link it to Stormburst, you'll see that Stormburst here has Exploding Orbs deal 75% of skill damage for each 0.4 seconds of remaining duration. Also, that it that means basically like 75% more damage, right? So the goal here is to increase the duration of your Stormburst a lot. Like, as much as possible. So each increment of 0.4 seconds, you get 75% extra damage. So that's kind of crazy. So what we've done here, this is a normal 6 link, but if you have a Forbidden Shaco with Decay on it, you have level 35 decay. So if you linked it to Storm Burst, increased duration, efficacy, and infused channeling, just because it's an awesome skill, especially with Storm Burst, because it makes you take less physical and lightning damage, you get a lot of damage. So this looks like a passable League starter, right? And all I have is just some like basic, damage over time wands, and then Cherubim's Maleficence, and this shitty String of Servitude. It's a basic cluster jewels. That's all I've got. So this looks okay. Damage over time for a League starter, sure. But you multiply that by 14. That's how much damage stuff takes. And the nice thing is you only have to just pop it once with Storm Burst. So you channel one time, which is whatever 1 second divided by 4.84 is, like 0.21 seconds or something. So that's your cast time. And then it takes 244 times 14 damage per second. That's crazy with like trash gear. So decay is really hard to scale, and basically the only things that will scale it directly are damage over time, chaos damage over time, and multipliers of both, and percent chaos damage. So you kind of have to get creative and use skills that do weird shit like Arc and like Storm Burst. So Storm Burst is the ideal situation. So this does a ton of damage, but I'm not sure how to get sustain out of this character. I was thinking like life regen. I'm not really sure. It sort of lends itself very well to using Divine Flesh and being like a straight up life character. I'm not entirely sure how to do that. I think I might have to like sacrifice a whole bunch of damage, basically. Like, because I want to come over here, because if you get Glorious Vanity, Timeless Jewel, this one in particular, the 1412, you have damage over time and skill effect, damage over time, skill effect, there, also there. If you really want it, it's there too. So, that's pretty high value, right? That's a target-rich environment, as they say. So getting over here is a good idea, and there's not really another place on the tree that does anything that beneficial. I think pretty much any one of these other ones has like 3 versions of Exquisite Pain, but for some reason they decided to put 5 of them over here. So that are easily accessible. And like with my current tree, this one's a bit of a reach, but this helps my build, and so does that. The extra evasion rating. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. And then the new Guardian. We should talk about the Ascendancies. The new Guardian kind of piqued my interest as well. So yeah, Decay Occultist and Forbidden Rite Pathfinder are definitely the top 2. If I can figure out how to make the Occultist work, I will probably choose that because it's just weirder, and that's kind of my thing. I like building off-meta stuff, just for personal pride reasons, and it's also cheaper. Like, less desirable things mean cheaper items. So let's see. Guardian. Where are they? Oh, they're there. So here's the Guardian rework. Go back to that. There we go. So this looks pretty good to me, honestly. I think a lot of people are pretty disappointed with the Radiant Faith rework, which I don't really understand why it got nuked the way it did. So let's look at what Radiant Faith currently does. So right now it's grant armor equal to 160% of your reserved life to you and nearby allies, and maximum energy shield equal to 10% of your reserved mana. So it kept the reserved mana thing, but you gain armor equal to 25% of your reserve mana instead of 160% of your reserve life, which is sort of weird. I'm not sure why they wanted to take out the life portion of that. But it does mean that an energy shield, you know, like either Chaos Inoculation or low life, Guardian can have a crap ton of energy shield if you stack mana. But 25% of mana as armor is not great. Like, that's not really a whole lot. Even if you really devote yourself to mana, I feel like that's probably like 1500 armor. Which is fine. I mean, I'd rather have it than not, but like, you can reserve way more life. You know, 160% of your life is a lot. That's probably like 8,000 armor or something instead of 2,000 at the absolute most. So, yeah, I don't know about that. This right here, Unwavering Faith, is the one that really caught my eye. So 5% increased recovery rate of life, mana, and energy shield to you and allies per aura. That is a lot. That is a whole freaking lot. So either, like, this is going to be extremely expensive on Forbidden Flesh and Forbidden Flame jewels. So this was my first thought, is to use this on an Inquisitor. Because Inquisitors have freaking ridiculous regeneration anyway. And then, like, do an aura stacking Inquisitor. But I think this is going to be totally out of my price range, and finding them myself is basically impossible. So, yeah, great for aura bots, exactly. Perfect for aura bots. So, I was thinking, like, low-life Inquisitor, with, like, Petrified Blood and all that sort of stuff. But, I don't think realistically I could get this, because like I said, the jewels would just be prohibitively expensive. So, I was thinking just doing a Guardian, basically, just having crazy energy shield, like doing low life, have ridiculous energy shield regeneration, and get Time of Need because it's freaking awesome. 100% of your life over 1 second, and it's I believe it changed the wording. So like here, currently it is, oh, it is regenerate life currently, but it's only 30%. I didn't realize that. I thought it said something like recover your life or something like that. Do I ever pay for 5 ways? I never have. I probably should. I should probably try that. Just to get all my stuff unlocked and level up a whole bunch. It's not a bad idea. But yeah, I would like to know what these do. The Sentinel of Radiance and the Unwavering Crusade. I mean, presumably they're pretty good, but it's hard to say. But the fact that you can't get the Elemental Relic during boss fights, like big boss fights, because you don't kill anything, that sucks. That sucks a lot. They have to allow that to trigger against bosses if they want this to be a viable node. Or make it just like ludicrously screen clearingly powerful, and then people would take it for just like map clearing. Because that'd be cool. I could make that work. Like if you just summon the Elemental Relic and it just like has a Nova that nukes 3 screens at a time. Yeah, fucking awesome. Let's go, man. Let's do it. Then Bastion of Hope, though. Bastion of Hope is really good. This is basically just like 25% extra chance to block on both attack and spell damage. It's like you're basically always going to be doing both of those things. Like if you're a spellcaster, just make sure your movement skill is shield charge. Problem solved, yay! But yeah, I figure a character with Radiant Faith, Unwavering Faith, Time of Need, and Bastion of Hope would be pretty strong. Harmony of Purpose is trash. Anything linked, they're trying so hard to make links like meaningful and viable, but they just aren't. They just really aren't. But yeah, depending on what Radiant, the Sentinel of Radiance does, I might replace Time of Need with that, because 10% damage of hits going to the Sentinel of Radiance life before yours, that's pretty good. That's a solid amount of damage. I mean, it's basically like 10% less damage taken, right? From hits, I guess. But yeah, Time of Need is an interesting option for, so for Energy Shield, obviously, because you take Zealot's Oath and make your life regeneration, you can see this, right? Yeah. Life regeneration is applied to Energy Shield instead. Hot damn. 100% of Energy Shield every 4 seconds. Yes, please. That's pretty cool. This is also good for an Inquisitor, by the way. But maybe less so than Unwavering Faith. But yeah, I feel like those 4 will make a pretty damn good spellcaster. So yeah, if you do a spellcaster with like reserving tons of mana, Ivory Tower, and Coruscating Elixir to make sure that damage doesn't bypass your like the trick is you get Coruscating Elixir, which makes chaos damage not bypass your energy shield, and then you get the Traitor Timeless Jewel with Balbala as or Balaba or whatever it is. Let's see. Brutal Restraint. Balbala, yeah. The Traitor. And that makes you gain 4 flask charges for each empty flask slot you have. So basically you can only use 3 flasks, and you just gain charges, and you put the enchant on the Coruscating Elixir that makes it trigger whenever it finishes, and so you just always have that effect. No chevrons necessary. But yeah, I could definitely see doing a spellcaster with this. Then what would you do for Forbidden Flesh and Flame? Maybe you could do Inevitable Judgment. That's a good one. Or just Righteous Providence for extra crit. So yeah, I wonder if it would be a good idea to do anything from here. Probably not. Divine Guidance. Would you want to do that, though? Probably not. I really hope they make Archmage builds better. Like, I hope they come back and, you know, make it so that mana actually can regenerate fast enough to support that. Archmage was, like, my favorite type of build ever, and it just got absolutely gutted. Sanctuary of Thought would probably be really good, except for you aren't leaving your mana unreserved. So you wouldn't really get any area of effect increase. But if you're stacking mana, 20% of max mana as Energy Shield would be pretty cool, to say the least. So yeah, well, let's mock up that character. Why not? And we'll talk about the chieftain. Poor chieftain. We'll talk about the chieftain in a minute. Don't really want to save that. Don't save. Alright, so we'll have a Guardian. What do we say? Time of Need, Bastion of Hope. Those are just placeholders, remember? I figure we'd have to have some way to, like, abuse the 100% life regen. Kaum's gloves, the ones that make your life regeneration turn into like rage generation, seems like a really pretty freaking obvious use for it. So if for whatever reason you wanted to do Time of Need instead of this on an attacking Inquisitor, that might be pretty cool. Might be something that I would consider too. I feel like Berserk on like either a Shield Crush or maybe like Ice Crash Berserker would be, or being a Inquisitor would be pretty cool. That's interesting. Or Spectral Shield Throw. That'd be cool too. I did a Shield Crush Inquisitor. It was great. That was my Lake of Calandra character. That worked out really well. But I feel like I sort of missed my missed the boat on that one, you know? Last league was the time to do that with the ridiculous like 800 energy shield Emperor's Vigilance that came out. Well, I mean, those were super expensive, but still. Alright, let's see here. Armored energy shield, yes please. So we're gonna need Ivory Tower, right? We're gonna need Ivory Tower. We're gonna need Mind Spiral. Nobody ever thinks about this helmet, but it's so good. I literally bought a perfect one. Everything was perfect. All of these stats. Perfect for one Chaos in the last league, because I thought I was going to make a character similar to this, and then just didn't end up doing it. So yeah, 15% of max mana as extra energy shield is really good. It's really good. Let's see. What else do I need? Probably use those at some point. So what skill would we use? We gotta get over here to Pain Attunement because we're low life. Oh yeah, Coruscating Elixir. Boop. So yeah, let's see, it uses 20 charges, so you have to recharge... You have to get 20 charges in 12 seconds. Pretty doable. Also nice that you just sort of always take 20% less fire damage. So perhaps we should figure out a way to make everything convert to fire damage. Interesting thought. Okay. Anyway. Moving on. Wait, so I don't really have much benefit to reserving life anymore other than the extra energy shield. So I guess I'll have to figure out if that's like... if the life nodes I'm picking up are worth the space that I'm losing. So this will be a shield block kind of guy. What sort of shield should I have? I don't know, probably a titanium shield, I guess. Let's see. Energy shield. Oh yeah, our champion shield. Forgot about that. Oh, maybe we could do, like, even an Aegis Aurora. That'd be cool. Put that up there. Just put all this random stuff in there. Okay, nope, not that. Gloves, sure. Or here, Crusader gloves. And Creator Clear Out, already have that taken care of. Archon Shield. Sweet. Let's see, block chance 34%. Plus 25 to both, actually. Wait a second. Archon Shield. That's 34% chance to block? Oh no, that's just what I've picked up from this bitch. So I think blocking attack damage is harder to get in this part of the tree. Because you've got all these nodes here. The spell block. That. Take those. Those are good nodes regardless. Mana regen. Oh, so I don't really need to have that point, do I? Or wait. Maybe I don't need to have that point. Reduce skill cost, have life. Crit multi per 10 energy shield, that seems good. Void ailments. Yeah. Well, we'll earmark that for something. Something or other. So I think this will be a spell crit character. Yeah, sure. Mana. Let's see. Preservation efficiency. Int. Lots of mana, decrease that. Yeah, so I'm thinking like Spark maybe for this. And we'll kind of have an element of aura stacking too. Damage taken recouped as mana. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go up here. Probably want to pick up that power charge, I guess. And get those. I'm just kind of like throwing shit out here. I have no idea what I'm actually doing. I wonder if I should not take those and go this way down here. Yeah. Deep thoughts. All the mana masteries are like pretty good, I feel like. 10% mana. So this build like begs to be an Archmage build, but you know, I'm gonna reserve a bunch of mana, so that's not happening. Oh, you know what? It's gonna be a lightning build. Let's go this way, shall we? And then we can have maximum effective shock. And lightning walker. Those are all smart things to take, I feel like. How much mana do I have? 336. Jesus. Unnatural calm, and we're just about out of points. Fab. Let's see, so I'll probably nix this. We'll do that. And what other fun things? Increased energy shield from equipped helmet. What is the energy shield on my equipped helmet? Not very good, I don't think. No, it's not. Less fizz taken while on full energy shield. Meh. That's probably a good idea. Stun threshold increase. Or I could just be immune to stun. That's probably the better option. Oh, I forgot to come over here. That's important. Those are crucial. Pain attunement. What should I get rid of in favor of that? Maybe down here. Yeah, maybe we'll take that away. Yeah, because pain attunement is just straight up 30% more damage. Yeah, I really want to make the Guardian work. I think that'd be cool. Oh, Zealot's Oath. Forgot about that. What else am I gonna nix here? These nodes are good. I don't want to lose them. I don't know that that's worth traveling down there, though. Okay. So we'll see here. Let's just, like, throw something in here. We'll just do Spark. Spark is sort of the, de rigueur option. So let's see. I need Vitality. All of these things linked to Arrogance. Precision. We want as many auras as possible, recall. Clarity. So actually, now that I mention it, I don't know that I want those. Do I want those linked to Arrogance? Probably so, right? Because usually that's sort of a no-brainer for the flat reservation ones, because you have way more life than mana. But here, I'll have way more mana than life. So that only reserves 12% of my mana. Maybe I'll just go without that. Sweet. Making sense. That's what we're all about here. Alright. What else would I want? So Determination. It's kind of obvious. Yep. Stop that alarm. Probably Wrath, I guess. Zealotry? It'd be really nice to have 2 6 links, so I could, just enlighten the shit out of everything. Let's see. Yeah, this is a jank-ass tree. But we're just playing. We just playing. So what would I do to fix that? Oh, I need discipline as well. Because energy shield. Reserved life is 41%. What else should I get? Defiance Banner. Does Defiance Banner count as an aura? Yes, it does. Cool. That's really cool. So 25% left, huh? What can I do with that? What's a Herald do? Okay, that puts me way, way past Okay, well, we'll see. We'll at least see what our damage looks like. Oh. I guess I need... Sniper's Mark? That sounds crazy. With Spark. Holy shit, I have no idea how to build a Spark build, by the way. Alright, let's get a wand. Oh, you know what? We'll keep this easy. Singularity. That'll be our weapon. Yeehaw. That's a really good unique just to, like, have. 100% increased damage with hits and ailments against hindered enemies. Jesus Christ. Alright. Yes, he is. In fact. Do I use power charges? I don't know. Enemy is shocked. So we need Unnerve, which can come from gloves, I guess. Or we could use Augur Mortis, which would be kind of cool. Enemy is hindered. Alright, let's just see. How much have I spent recently? I don't know. 400 mana. Have I blocked recently? Yes. 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 What? Is it already POV time? It is. Yeah, we were talking about the new Guardian, that I'm trying to figure out how to exploit it, basically. Because I think that the new Unwavering Faith is just going to be, frankly, too expensive for me. Like, normally, I would, Guardian looks pretty good, dude. Like, I think the Harmony of Purpose is trash. It's just, they sort of had to have a Link Ascendancy node somewhere to, like, legitimize those. But, like, let's be real, nobody uses those. Ever. Like, we were talking about Radiant Faith is... I don't know. This took a nerf, but not like a gigantic nerf. I think it should. Yeah, I think Zealot's Oath should work with the 100% life recovery, which is awesome. Because it does say regenerate 100% of life, and Zealot's Oath, we were looking at that earlier, is life regeneration is applied to Energy Shield. This also apparently will work with Kaum's Gloves. So if you wanted to make a like a rage build, some sort of attacking build, I was thinking like I would do an Inquisitor, like maybe some sort of like Ice Crash Inquisitor or something, I don't know, some elemental attack skill, and just Flesh and Flame, or Forbidden Flame my way into the Time of Need, because I don't think that one will be very expensive, but maybe I'm wrong. But I think most people will want this. I think the Forbidden Flame jewels for this will just be ludicrously expensive. Because people are going to want to be doing aura stacking Inquisitors. Because that's sort of like an obvious, you know, route to go. But yeah, I'm trying to build a Spark build, and I have absolutely no clue what I'm doing. So I'm just sort of firing shit out. This is a mana stacking... low life guy. And this would be a league starter, which is why I'm kind of hedging on this. But yeah, this is not built well for Spark. Like, there's no skill effect duration or projectile speed or anything like that. It's just all real basic shit. So yeah, I don't know that the way that I've done this is gonna make any sense, honestly. I think this character is Quinn style 0 DPS. But yeah, this would definitely work if you actually put a little more brain power into it, I'm pretty sure. You'd have awesome armor, shitload of energy shield, max block. Yeah, this is... The Guardian's pretty good. I think Guardian's going to be a solid choice, especially for League start. And then once you get a whole bunch of crazy items and stuff to throw at it, it'll be really good. Yeah, I mean, even just like without trying, just basically with some fundamental gear, you're rocking 7,500 energy shield. That's kind of nuts. Yeah, the Decay Stormburst is cool. That's actually one of the ones that we were just looking at. Decay Cultist. Here, I'll send this to you if you are interested. Share. There we go. This is not by any means optimized, but pretty good in terms of damage, but you gotta figure out a way to like sustain yourself. It probably is just gonna be through gear, I'd imagine. Just get a whole bunch of like life regen from your gear. It's interesting that you mentioned the Decay Stormburst deck. were you watching earlier when we were talking about this? That's a random ass build to just try to kind of come up with. Because I just happened to remember this from That's Real Nito, who's a Redditor who's got his own channel, and he just like comes up with weird ass interactions. And he did this probably like freaking 3 years ago, like when Stormburst came out, and I just kind of randomly happened to remember that he did that. So yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good build. You will be very squishy for a little while. Definitely we'll have to, Hey, Cheezel, what's up, man? How are you? How's your weekend? Yeah, Guardian looks solid, man. I don't know, I think I may have gone a little balls deep in the mana stacking. For not really any good reason. This really all it does is get me more energy shield. Yeah, and, well, I guess armor, too, but... yeah... tired. Well, that's not a good way to start the week. Go to sleep, bro. Go to sleep. Yeah, so Guardian I think is, pretty abusable, to say the least. Both as a solo class in its own right, and for its Unwavering Faith node, which lots of people use. Saw Oppenheimer? Oh, cool. How was that? I really want to see that. I think it looks great. Oh, shit. That was not what I wanted to do. Yeah, so let's leave Guardian for a minute. And we'll talk about Chieftain. Because this is kind of a mess. I don't know what to think about Chieftain. It's so good? Cool. Okay. I've actually heard that the Barbie movie, and I know they're like forever linked just because they came out on the same weekend, but I've heard the Barbie movie's really good too. I mean, good for different reasons, obviously, but still good. But yeah, so the obvious winner here is Valaco. Like, that's, you know, this is awesome. This is a ridiculously powerful node. But I don't really see how you'd want to take anything else with Chieftain instead of just getting this. This is another, you know, Forbidden Flame fodder that's going to be ludicrously expensive. You heard not good for little girls? Really? Valaco, Tessalio, and Tempered by War. What does Tessalio do now? Mods to fire res. Yeah, I mean, that should be good, right? Yeah, I forgot about this. This is kind of cool because basically, like, it makes fire resistance. Like, if you think about it, getting fire resistance applies the same amount of total resistance to cold and lightning after you're capped on fire, right? So, like, if you have capped fire resistance and you get 50 more fire res, you get 25 cold and 25 lightning. So it's sort of the same thing, but it actually, like, saves you a suffix on those, in a sense. So this is actually, like, possibly not a, like, super strong ascendancy node, but I think it might be kind of underrated. Like, that's pretty convenient. You know, if you get a, I don't know, any piece of gear with, like, a resistance that you don't necessarily need, like, if you're way overcapped on, like, lightning or something, but you need cold, you can just, like, go to harvest and switch that to fire. Seems pretty good. So really the only combo that like seems reasonable to me. Well, let's go through these real quick. So we just talked about that. Storm's Embrace is like kind of obviously fucking awesome, right? Arohongui is probably kind of useless. I don't really see what the point of this is now. This used to be the one that gave you like leech from your totems, right? That I feel like wasn't really taken either. Oh no, increased effect. Totems are immune to fire. Enemies near your totems deal 8% less. Oh yeah, but still, I don't think anybody used that. Tukahama was the one that gave you leech. But yeah, I don't really see the point of this. Like, basically it makes all your totems decoy totems. Kinda? Sort of, yeah, I don't really get it. Like, maybe this is good for, like, Righteous Fire Totems or something? I don't know. I'm racking my brain. I am racking my brain. But then you don't recoup that life, though, right? Because Righteous Fire is life lost, not damage taken, right? Oh, no? Okay. It is damage taken. So actually, that might be kind of cool. So Righteous Fire Totems? Eh? That seems like a really clunky-ass playstyle, but maybe that would be kind of badass for your life regeneration. Huh. Okay. I don't think I've seen anybody mention that before. And then you could run Righteous Fire yourself, huh? This is interesting. That is a very interesting thought. Huh. So while your totems are burning themselves down, you're recouping 10% of that damage. So if you got that node that recoups... the gears are turning. If you got that node that makes recoup happen over 3 seconds, that would help a lot and make a big difference. Okay. So you just get some huge beefy ass totems and a beefy ass chieftain. Interesting. I wonder if this would work. I wonder if this would work. Huh. Okay, well, moving on. So Namahu is, I don't think that, it doesn't sound that great. Sounds like it might be kind of interesting, but I will, defer to the talking heads, who say that they have experimented with this, and there's not really a great place for it, other than here. Like, this is the obvious place for it, I guess. But that's, like, really fucking far out of the way for Marauder. And you're probably just way better off. There's lots of fire damage stuff over here, just generic damage. That, like, why not use that? And so I was thinking about this, and if you do these, like, if you try to use this slot and convert all of these things to fire damage... Like, I guess it's nice for the, like, the weapon that you don't use. So maybe if you're using, like, staves or something, this would be pretty cool. Yeah, so if you use a staff and you just turn all of this into fire damage, that'd be cool. But if you're actually using this weapon, this might be straight up worse, right? Because instead of just, like, damage, it's only the damage that's fire. So, like, if you'd have to, like, convert all your damage or something for that to even be equivalent. But yeah, I guess if you use a staff, this is actually pretty good here. That's kind of a thought. It's an interesting thought. just stack a whole shitload of fire damage on your staff, but, like, who uses melee staves on a chieftain anyway? That doesn't... I don't think that's a thing. But maybe it is now, I don't know. I'm trying to make this work. Trying so hard. I am trying so hard. So these Strength of Blood will be good with Guardian. Strength of Blood, huh? Here, I should just bite the bullet and open this in a new window. There we go. Much better. Okay. Where's Strength of Blood? Strength of Blood. Oops. What is Strength of Blood? Is that an item? Oh, yeah. Life recovery is... from non-instant leech is not applied. That's an interesting thought. Life recovery from non-instant leech is not applied. Wait, why does that have anything to do with Guardian? Like, I guess you could stack a whole bunch of... So you're saying lean into the regen, and then do a whole bunch of life leech? I mean, that seems reasonable. That'd be kind of interesting, and it'd combine well with the, oh, well, I guess if you use Kaum's Gloves, I was thinking, like, for attack builds. But yeah, I guess if you need, regen, because you don't have leech. Yeah. It's actually sort of be, like, anti-synergistic with Kaum's Gloves. So you'd have no life recovery. Huh, that's an interesting thought. But I guess nobody really uses this with Inquisitors, though, and Inquisitors have crazy life leech, or crazy, life regen. How much leech can you get? Oh, I'm gonna tumble down this rabbit hole, son of a bitch. Let's see. Yeah, most of the life leech is down here, right? So let's see. 6. Well, there's not any on there, huh? Interesting. That's 1.2. 1.6. 2.4. 2.8. 4. That's not very reassuring. 4% leech. So 2% life recovery per second from leech. So wait, you wouldn't actually have to have... Dark Pact Guardian. The new support gym? Which new support gym? The only ones I recall are the projectile one, which is awesome, by the way. Oh, more chaos damage based on sacrificed life. Oh my. I do remember them showcasing that. Here, I'm gonna go I'm gonna find that shit on Reddit. 'Cause I know they got it. That would actually be pretty cool. Oh, you got it? Look at you. Yeah, that's it. Gems. Oh no, this is all still PoE2 stuff. Oh yeah, I totally forgot they showcased PoE Mobile. That looked profoundly uninteresting to me. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. But that just did not... Yeah. Deals... Okay, well that... doesn't tell me anything. Okay. But yeah, the mobile thing is just like not... I don't care. Don't care at all. Alright, moving on. Yeah, corrupting that does sound cool. I have to wonder how it compares with just like corrupting fever though. And like exsanguinate and stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure. Google's push to get phone games on PC? No. How exactly they plan on going about doing that? And like, why would you do that? Why isn't the whole point of phone games they're supposed to be like fire and forget instead of like if you have a PC, would you just play a PC game? Mobile must be big. Well, yeah, I think mobile's big because it's like such a cash cow. Because most of them are like, you know, purchase driven, or what do you call it? Like, pay to win. There you go. There are gaming phones? Oh, don't tell me that. I guess why would there not be, right? But yeah, so Tafoa here, I mean, this is just not a very good node. I didn't realize, I've never used this, but I didn't realize there's a 2-second cooldown on them summoning this, so that sort of sucks. An Ancestral Call and Fist of War clearly don't work together. So that is disappointing. But at least Tafoa is now a slam or strike skill. So I guess you could get a bunch of cooldown and, like, make that okay. I mean, it deals 100% more damage. So it, like, doubles your damage every 2 seconds. Which is not horrendous, I guess. Check this out. Oh god, what are we gonna look at? I've been blocked? What? Why have I been blocked from Asus's website? That's awesome. Browsing and clicking at a speed much faster than I expected a human being. Something's preventing JavaScript. There's something... I wonder if they don't allow VPNs. Oh, there we go. It loaded that time. That was weird. Whoa, $1,400? What the fuck? That's insanity. No thanks, man. Wow. Truly the gift for the person who has everything, right? Like, bro, just buy a Nintendo Switch. If you want mobile gaming, just buy a freaking Switch, man. Yeah, I can see how League of Legends would lend itself to mobileness. Wow, that is hardcore, dude. Whole competitive scenes for it. Yeah, I mean, I guess this all makes sense, right? Everybody's gonna find a way to, you know, be competitive about, you know, everything, basically. They get aftermarket cooling systems that go over the phone? What? Of course that exists. Of course there's a freaking phone cooler. Jesus. I can't even handle that. Game on the phone for 10 hours? Woo! My wrist be cramping just thinking about that, man. No thank you. So I want this node to be good. I really want the fire resistance to damage over time while you're stationary, but that's so conditional. Like, what are you, when are you ever stationary? Like, I guess this sort of plays into the, Righteous Fire totems thing we were talking about earlier, but, like, where you just throw your totems down and then stand still and let shit hit your totems? I guess? But even then, like, there's tons of ways to lower enemy fire resistance. Like, why would you not just do that? Like, flammability, exposure, you know, other curses like LE weakness, stuff like that. And even, like, pinnacle bosses only have, like, 50 fire res, right? So you don't need to lower it that much. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can make a good build with that. And then the Heinecorded Death's Furies, that's just crap. That is way too rare to be useful. Unless you find some way to, like, prolif that. And I can't even think about how you would do that, frankly. Like, I have no idea how you would make that explosion chain. Like, 5% of the time, and then 500% of their max life? Like, what? Why does it need to be so much? Like, 100% should be pretty good, right? Yeah, that one doesn't make any sense to me. I do kind of want to play around with that Righteous Fire Totem idea, though. That's kind of neat. That would make you very hard to kill. Especially if you've got a whole bunch of, like, regen in your own right. You could run your own Righteous Fire. Whoa. Then, would it be ballsy if you, like... Oh, well, I guess you can't really do that. I was gonna say if you, like... You know, use that as fuel for your Righteous Fire, but it's based on your life anyway, so... Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I like this support gem. This is cool. 70% less damage for returning things is a lot. That's a big penalty. I'm curious how much it is for, like the level 20 gem. But I could see this being useful. I could see this being okay. If that, that penalty goes down. It'd be alright. And then the new Keystone passives, yeah, obviously cool. Forbidden Sanctum coming back. I am not nearly as excited about that as a lot of people seem to be. I thought Sanctum was okay. Like, it was fun, but everybody seemed to think that this was, like, the best thing since sliced bread, and I was like, eh. I enjoyed the League, but the mechanic was not my favorite. Partially because I'm really bad at it. My skill level is terrible. So the whole, like, don't get hit thing was not really great for me. But, oh well. Yeah, I'm definitely most excited about... So this League mechanic looks awesome. The, like, auto battler thing looks really, really cool. I think that's gonna be fun. And also the class reworks. Like, Chieftain, I think, is not so good. Hey, Harfing, thanks for the sub, dude. I appreciate that. Very cool. Hopefully you're enjoying my ramblings. But yeah, I think the auto battler's cool. I think Guardian is going to be abusable as fuck. Like, somebody's going to come up with some very cool stuff for that. And Chieftain, I don't know, man. I hold out hope that there's a good formula in here somewhere, but I don't see it. I don't see how this is like a cohesive idea. Like, I honestly kind of liked how it was before, really. Better. Like, the endurance charge focus and fire and stuff. I mean, I guess you still have plenty of fire damage focus in this, but like, all of it's just like kind of all over the place. I don't feel like I don't know if they're trying to like lead you towards slams or something, but that, like, it doesn't seem like that's done well. And we all know that, you know, if you have an attack that takes freaking long enough to be, you know, make Fist of War super useful, that's probably gonna go poorly for you. You're not gonna have fun. You're gonna get stun locked out of your attacks and, you know, just fucking die before you can do any damage. But it does make me wonder, like, can you do like an Earthquake Ignite with this? Like with Ramako Sun's Light, or I don't know. Things like this that don't have like an obvious solution sort of get my brain churning, because I'm like, clearly, or this is the thought process at least, like clearly they had something in mind, or like a couple builds in mind when they did this. They were just like throwing noodles at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? But that's not always the case. Sometimes they just like do random shit and you're like, oh yeah, that actually was a terrible idea. Never mind. We'll fix all of these things. So yeah, huh. I don't know. Oh, and you know what? I just realized that your totems are no longer immune to fire damage for the Righteous Fire Totems thing, because I guess that used to be the way that went down. Is that right? Yeah, totems are immune to fire damage. Yeah, so that isn't a thing anymore, so you get to resummon those fuckers every like 10 seconds or whatever. Ugh. That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound like that'll work. You know what? Let's do it. Let's mock it up. I wanna see what it looks like. Might as well. Alright, Chieftain with random nonsense. Oh wait, where's my new window? There it is. Yeah, like none of these nodes even exist anymore, so... Alright. I guess I want that instead, don't I? Lots of regeneration, life, and life regen. Life regen. Life regen. I have no idea how to make a Righteous Fire character. I'm just kind of taking stuff. Just taking lots of life. Lots and lots of life. Endurance charge, sure. Let's see, where else is life? There's life. Fire damage, I guess. So I need... This gives me regen per endurance charge, yeah. Yup. So how much of all of these things can I get? Oh, and I need totem stuff too. I forgot about that. That's probably more important, actually. So does totem damage increase how much damage totems do with Righteous Fire? I have no idea. But you know what? We're gonna take those nodes anyway. %5 of damage from hits is taken from your nearest totem's life before you. Sure. Okay. Cool. Placement speed. Totem Exile. Totem's action speed can't be modified below base value. Don't care. Do not care. Because they don't take actions. Let's see. Totem life. Totem life. Yep, don't care about that. Let's see, is this all crit stuff? Yeah. Alright. And I'm spent. Oh, here we go. $30 LA resistance. So I don't know that I want Ancestral Call or Ancestral Bond, right? Because I want to do Righteous Fire myself. Maybe? That sucks. Huh. That's what I want, multiple totems. What has the most life? Decoy Totem has the most life, right? Oh, but I would need a spell totem though to cast that. All right, spell totem it is. Seems like this is a fucking jank ass build. Is that something that I want to do? Sure. Totems aren't minions, so minion life doesn't work. I don't even know, like, what things I can do to increase totem life. Well, I guess this was actually a good league to figure that out, because everybody wanted the explode totem stuff going on. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I have the brain power to figure this out right now. We'll quit that. Alright, well, I gotta go to bed. I'm tired. Thank you, everybody. Hope you had fun. I enjoyed myself. Just kind of talking through all the new Path of Exile stuff. I am very psyched. I think the next league's gonna be really cool. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for hanging out with me, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. I had fun. I will not be back Wednesday because I'm on call. Maybe I'll be back some other night this week. We'll see. That's very dependent on my angry 7-month-old, 8-month-old almost. So yeah, you guys have a great week. Take it easy. Have a good night.